The massive space station hung in the void like a dark jewel against the stars. It was bigger than most moons, built from metal and crystal that gleamed under the light of the distant sun. This was the heart of the Galactic Council, where 12 different alien races came together to make decisions that affected billions of lives across the galaxy. Inside the station's great hall, representatives from across the galaxy gathered around a huge circular table. The air hummed with tension as translators worked to convert dozens of different languages into something everyone could understand. At the head of the table sat Chairman Vextar, a being made of living crystal that stood nearly 10 feet tall. His body caught the light and threw rainbows across the polished floor as he moved. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the stars through the main window. He was a tall man with gray hair and steady eyes that had seen too many battles. His ship was one of the newest in the human fleet, armed with weapons that could crack a moon in half. But Jake knew that weapons alone would not win the war that was coming. The human fleet spread out behind his ship like a cloud of metal and fire. 200 vessels of all sizes floated in perfect formation, waiting for orders. Jake had trained with these crews for years, and he trusted them with his life. But he also knew they were outnumbered by enemies who had been fighting wars when humans were still learning to make fire. Back in the council chamber, Vextar's voice rang out like breaking glass. He spoke in the old language of the council, but the words that came from the translators were clear and cold. "The human problem has gone too far," he said. "They have taken systems that do not belong to them. They have ignored our warnings. They have shown no respect for the order we have built." Around the table, other alien representatives nodded their agreement. The Zephyrians were a warrior race with scales like armor and eyes like burning coals. Their War Master Krell stood nearly 8 feet tall with muscles that could crush steel. He had led 1,000 battles and never known defeat. "Give me 4 hours," he growled. "I will show these humans what real war looks like." The Nethrani were different from the Zephyrians. They were thin and pale, with large heads full of calculating minds. Commander Zix spoke in a voice like winter wind. "Our analysis shows the humans will fall in 6 hours at most. Their tactics are simple. Their technology is basic. They fight like animals instead of soldiers." Admiral Morrison did not know about the meeting taking place light years away. He was focused on the reports coming in from his scouts. Captain Lisa Carter commanded a group of destroyers at the edge of human space. She was a woman with short brown hair and sharp eyes who had earned her rank through skill, not politics. Her ships were fast and deadly, perfect for hit-and-run attacks. "Admiral," came Lisa's voice over the communication system, "we are picking up massive fleet movements in the outer sectors. It looks like multiple alien races are working together. The numbers are not good." Jake nodded as he studied the data on his screen. The aliens had more ships, better weapons, and centuries of experience. On paper, the humans should lose this fight before it even began. But Jake had learned something important during his years of service. Wars were not won on paper. Dr. Alex Bennett worked in the research labs aboard the UES Discovery, a ship dedicated to studying alien technology. He was a thin man with wild hair who spent most of his time staring at computer screens and alien artifacts. Alex had been studying pieces of alien ships that humans had captured in previous battles. What he found made him very excited. The shield systems all use the same basic frequency. He told his assistant, "If we can disrupt that frequency, their defenses will fail like a house of cards." Alex had been working on this problem for months, and he thought he had found the answer. But he needed time to test his theories, and time was something they did not have much of. In the council chamber, the debate continued. Some of the alien races wanted to offer the humans one last chance to surrender. Others wanted to attack immediately and end the threat once and for all. Chairman Vextar listened to all sides before making his decision. "The humans have had their chances," he said. "They chose war when they could have chosen peace. Now we will show them the price of defying the council. We will gather our fleets and crush them so completely that no other young race will ever dare to challenge us again." War Master Krell smiled, showing teeth like broken glass. "My ships are already moving into position. The humans have built colonies on worlds they call New Portland and Haven Station. We will start there. When those worlds burn, the rest of humanity will learn to fear us." Commander Zix pulled up holographic displays showing human fleet positions and battle tactics. "Look at how they fight," he said with contempt. "No discipline. No real strategy. They rely on courage and luck instead of proper planning. It will be their downfall. Admiral Morrison called a meeting of his senior officers. They gathered in the conference room aboard the Defiance, men and women who had served together through many dangers. Captain Lisa Carter joined them by video link from her destroyer. Dr. Bennett appeared on another screen from his research ship. "The aliens are coming," Jake told them simply. "Intelligence suggests they have over 800 ships from multiple races. They expect to crush us quickly and completely." He paused to let that sink in before continuing. "They are about to learn that humans do not break as easily as they think." General Ryan Brooks sat in his office at Saul Defense Command on Earth, reading reports that made his blood run cold. He was an older man with white hair and scars from battles fought long ago. Ryan had been preparing for this day since the first human ship left the solar system. Now that day had arrived. Ryan activated a secure communication channel and spoke a single phrase. "Protocol 7 is now active." Across human space, military commanders received the message and began implementing plans that had been years in the making. Protocol 7 was not just a battle plan. It was a complete rethinking of how humans would fight this war. Colonel Emma Watson received the activation order at her hidden base in the asteroid belt. She was a brilliant woman who thought about war the way others thought about chess. Emma had studied every alien battle tactic and found weaknesses that others had missed. She had spent months preparing for this moment, and now it was time to see if her theories would work in real combat. The alien armada began its final approach toward human space. 800 ships from 12 different races moved in perfect formation, their combined firepower enough to destroy entire star systems. The aliens were confident in their victory. They had planned this attack down to the smallest detail. They knew exactly how long it would take to defeat the humans. What they did not know was that the humans were ready for them. Admiral Morrison stood on his bridge, watching the approaching enemy fleet on his screens. Captain Lisa Carter prepared her destroyers for battle. Dr. Bennett made final adjustments to his experimental weapons. Colonel Watson positioned her hidden forces in the asteroid field. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The aliens expected it to last 6 hours. The humans had other plans. Commander Zick stood before a massive holographic display that showed the last 3 years of human military actions. The Nethrani officer was known throughout the galaxy for his cold logic and perfect battle analysis. His pale fingers moved through the air, calling up video after video of human ships in combat. "Watch this engagement near the Proxima system," he told the other council military leaders. The hologram showed human ships breaking formation and scattering in what looked like panic. See how they abandoned their battle lines? No discipline. No real strategy. They fight like frightened children. War Master Krell laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "I have seen wild beasts with better tactics. These humans think courage alone will save them. They will learn otherwise when my ships arrive." The alien commanders studied dozens of battles, but they saw only what they expected to see. When human ships broke formation, the aliens called it chaos. When human captains made split-second decisions that saved their crews, the aliens called it luck. They never considered that what looked like disorder might actually be a different kind of order. Dr. Alex Bennett worked alone in his laboratory aboard the UES Discovery. The research ship floated in the shadow of a dead moon, hidden from alien sensors. Alex had been studying captured alien technology for months, taking apart their weapons and shields piece by piece. What he found surprised him. Every alien race uses the same basic shield frequency, he muttered to himself as he worked. It is like they all learned from the same teacher. Alex had discovered that all council races used similar technology, built on the same scientific principles. This gave them great strength when working together, but it also created a massive weakness. Alex pulled up his computer models and ran another simulation. If he could create a device that disrupted the alien shield frequency, it would affect every ship in their fleet at the same time. The shields would not just fail on one ship. They would fail on all ships within range. "It is too simple," Alex said to his computer. "There has to be something I am missing." But the more he tested his theory, the more certain he became. The aliens had built their entire military around a single point of failure, and they did not even know it. Meanwhile, the alien armada continued its approach toward human space. Over 800 ships moved in perfect formation, each one exactly where it should be according to Council military doctrine. The fleet was beautiful to watch, like a deadly dance performed by masters of war. Admiral Torvak of the Celestial Navy commanded one section of the fleet. He was a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell, and he had fought in wars across the galaxy. The humans will see our formation and know they are defeated, he told his officers. No force in the galaxy can stand against such perfect order. But aboard the UES Defiance, Admiral Jake Morrison saw something different when he looked at the approaching alien fleet. Look at how they move, he told his tactical officer. Every ship in exactly the right place. Every formation perfect. They have been fighting the same way for 1,000 years. Captain Lisa Carter watched the alien approach from her position at the edge of the asteroid field. Her destroyers were hidden among the floating rocks, their engines cold and their weapons powered down. They are so focused on looking impressive that they forget to watch for threats, she told her crew. The aliens had made detailed plans for the coming battle. They knew exactly how many ships they would lose and how long the fight would take. Commander Zix had calculated everything down to the minute. 6 hours, he reported to Chairman Vextar. The human fleet will be destroyed in 6 hours. Their colonies will surrender within 12 hours. The war will be over before the next council meeting. But the aliens had made one critical mistake in their planning. They had studied human tactics, but they had not studied human thinking. They saw the chaos and assumed it meant weakness. They saw the quick decisions and called them desperation. They never realized that humans fought differently because humans thought differently. General Ryan Brooks sat in his command center on Earth, watching reports flow in from across human space. The alien fleet was massive and well organized, exactly as expected. But Ryan was not worried. He had been preparing for this moment for years, and he knew something the aliens did not. Activate all sleeper units, Ryan ordered. Across the galaxy, hidden human assets came online. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers revealed their true nature. Space stations that looked abandoned suddenly burst into activity. Mining bases and empty systems began transmitting targeting data. Colonel Emma Watson received the activation signal at her secret base in the asteroid field. She commanded a force that officially did not exist, ships and crews that had been training for one specific mission. Emma was one of the few humans who had studied alien military doctrine as carefully as the aliens studied human tactics. The council races have not fought a real war in 200 years, Emma told her staff. They have grown used to fighting primitives with simple weapons. They expect every enemy to act like the last enemy they fought. That will be their downfall. Dr. Bennett made final adjustments to his experimental devices. He had built 47 shield disruptors, each one small enough to fit inside a missile warhead. The devices were untested in real combat, but his simulations showed they would work. They had to work. The frequency modulation is perfect, Alex told himself as he checked his calculations one more time. When these detonate near the alien fleet, every shield in their formation will collapse simultaneously. They will be helpless for exactly 17 seconds. That should be enough. The alien commanders continued to study human battle footage, looking for weaknesses they could exploit. They found many. Human ships often operated alone instead of in coordinated groups. Human captains made emotional decisions instead of logical ones. Human crews sometimes ignored orders to save civilians or rescue damaged ships. See how they value individual lives over military objectives, Commander Zix pointed out. This emotional weakness will make them easy to defeat. When we threaten their civilians, they will break formation to protect them. When their ships are damaged, other ships will stop fighting to help them. War Master Krell agreed completely. Warriors who fight for emotion instead of duty are no warriors at all. My soldiers will show them what real discipline looks like. But the aliens missed the most important thing about human emotions in battle. Yes, humans would risk everything to save civilians. Yes, they would break formation to help damaged ships. But they would also fight twice as hard when they were angry, and they would never surrender when they were protecting something they loved. Admiral Morrison called his final staff meeting before the battle. Every senior officer in the human fleet joined the conference, their faces serious but not afraid. They all knew the odds they faced, and they all knew what would happen if they lost. The aliens think they understand us, Jake told his officers. They think our emotions make us weak. They think our flexible tactics are just chaos. They are about to learn that they are wrong about everything. Captain Lisa Carter spoke from her destroyer bridge. My ships are in position and ready. The aliens will not see us coming until it is too late. Dr. Bennett reported from his laboratory. The shield disruptors are loaded and ready for deployment. All tests show green across the board. Colonel Watson smiled from her hidden base. Phase 1 assets are in position. Phase 2 assets are standing by. Protocol 7 is ready for implementation. The alien fleet was now only hours away from human space. Their formation was perfect, their weapons were ready, and their confidence was absolute. They had planned this battle down to the smallest detail, and they knew they could not lose. Chairman Vextar addressed the council one final time before the attack began. Today we remind the galaxy why the council rules and why young races must learn their place. The humans will serve as an example to any who would challenge our authority. But the humans were ready for them. Hidden throughout the solar system, human forces waited for the signal to begin the greatest reversal in military history. The aliens expected to crush humanity in hours. Instead, they were about to learn why humans had earned their place among the stars. General Ryan Brooks stood in the command center of Sol Defense, watching the tactical display that showed the approaching alien armada. Red dots filled the screen, each one representing an enemy ship designed to destroy everything humans had built among the stars. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the steady breathing of the officers who waited for orders. "Sir, the alien fleet will reach the outer colonies in 4 hours," reported Major Kelly Davis, his chief of staff. She was a young woman with sharp eyes who had earned her position through years of careful planning and flawless execution. Ryan nodded slowly. He had been expecting this moment for 3 years, ever since the first reports of alien hostility reached Earth. Everything that happened next would depend on decisions made long before the enemy ships appeared on their sensors. "Send the activation code," Ryan said quietly. "Protocol 7 is now in effect." Across human space, military commanders received the same message at exactly the same time. Captain Lisa Carter read it aboard her destroyer, while hidden in the asteroid field. Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan saw it on his fighter's display while conducting what appeared to be a routine patrol. Colonel Emma Watson received it at her secret base where ships that did not officially exist waited for their moment to strike. Protocol 7 was not just a battle plan. It was a complete change in how humans would fight this war. Traditional military doctrine said that forces should stay together, maintain formation, and follow orders from Central Command. Protocol 7 threw all of that away. "From this moment forward, every ship operates independently," Ryan announced to his staff. "No Central Command, no formation flying, no predictable patterns. Every captain makes their own decisions based on local conditions and opportunities." Major Davis looked concerned. "Sir, that sounds like organized chaos." Ryan smiled grimly. "That is exactly what it is, and that is exactly what will save us." The alien fleet continued its approach in perfect formation, exactly as Commander Zix had planned. Every ship was in its assigned position. Every weapon system was charged and ready. Every crew member knew their precise role in the coming battle. It was military precision at its finest, the result of thousands of years of tactical evolution. Admiral Jake Morrison watched the enemy approach from the bridge of the UES Defiance. His ship was the flagship of the human fleet, but under Protocol 7 he would not be giving orders to other captains. Instead, each ship would fight its own battle as part of a larger whole that no alien computer could predict or counter. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison," he broadcast on an open channel that he knew the aliens were monitoring. "Enemy forces approaching. All vessels prepare for immediate retreat. Repeat, prepare for immediate retreat." The message was heard by every human ship in the fleet and by every alien commander in the approaching armada. To the aliens, it sounded like proof that the humans were already beaten. To the human crews, it was the signal to begin the most complex military deception in history. Colonel Emma Watson commanded forces that existed in the shadows between official military units and civilian organizations. Her ships looked like cargo haulers and mining vessels, but they carried weapons that could punch through heavy armor. Her crews were volunteers who had signed up for missions they might not survive. "Phase 1 begins now," Emma told her officers. "Remember, we are not trying to win a fair fight. We are trying to make the enemy think they are winning until it is too late for them to change their plans." Captain Lisa Carter's destroyers began moving through the asteroid field, using the floating rocks to hide their heat signatures and electromagnetic emissions. Her ships were fast and deadly, designed for hit-and-run attacks that would confuse and disorient the enemy. but they were also the bait that would draw the aliens into the trap. "Begin random patrol patterns," Lisa ordered her squadron. "Make it look like we are scared and disorganized. Let them think we are running blind." Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan led a squadron of fighters that had been modified with Dr. Bennett's experimental equipment. His pilots were some of the best in the fleet, men and women who could fly through an asteroid field at full speed or dogfight with alien interceptors in the vacuum of space. "Keep your formation loose," Jake told his pilots. "If the aliens see us flying in perfect order, they will know something is wrong. We need to look like we are barely holding together." Dr. Alex Bennett worked frantically in his laboratory, making final preparations for the weapons that could change everything. His shield disruptors were loaded into special missiles that would detonate near the alien fleet. If his calculations were correct, the aliens would lose all defensive capability for exactly 17 seconds. "The frequency modulation is perfect," Alex muttered as he ran final checks on his equipment. "But this has never been tested in real combat. If I am wrong about the alien shield systems, a lot of good people are going to die." The alien commanders watched human ship movements with satisfaction. Long-range sensors showed human vessels breaking formation and scattering in apparent panic. Some ships were heading for the outer colonies as if to evacuate civilians. Others seemed to be fleeing toward the edge of the system. "Look at them run," War Master Krell said with contempt. "They cannot even maintain basic formation discipline. This will be easier than crushing insects." Commander Zick studied the tactical display with his usual cold logic. "The human response is exactly as predicted. Fear has overcome their limited tactical training. We can destroy them at our leisure." But Admiral Morrison knew that appearances could be deceiving. Every human ship that looked like it was fleeing in panic was actually moving to a predetermined position. Every captain who seemed to be making desperate decisions was actually following a plan that had been months in the making. "The aliens see chaos because that is what they expect to see," Jake told his bridge crew. "They have fought so many battles against primitives that they have forgotten how to recognize a real threat." General Ryan Brooks monitored the situation from Earth, watching as human ships spread across the solar system in patterns that looked random but were actually carefully coordinated. Protocol 7 was working exactly as designed, creating the illusion of defeat while positioning forces for victory. "Sir, should we evacuate the civilian populations from the outer colonies?" asked Major Davis. Ryan shook his head. "The colonies are not targets. They are bait. The aliens want to destroy our military forces first, then demand surrender. They will not waste time attacking civilians when they think they can end the war quickly by crushing our fleet." The alien armada was now only 2 hours away from the first human settlements. Their formation remained perfect. Their weapons were fully charged and their confidence was absolute. They had no idea that they were flying into the most carefully prepared trap in military history. Captain Lisa Carter watched the alien approach from her hiding place among the asteroids. Her ships were invisible to enemy sensors, but she could see everything through passive scanners and spy drones. The alien fleet was beautiful and terrifying, like a school of mechanical sharks swimming through the darkness of space. "All ships, prepare for Phase 2, she broadcast on an encrypted channel. "Remember, we hit hard and fast, then disappear before they can respond. Our job is not to destroy them. Our job is to make them angry." Colonel Emma Watson's hidden forces began their final preparations. Ships that had been disguised as civilian vessels started charging their weapons and warming up their engines. Crews that had been pretending to be cargo handlers and miners revealed their true nature as elite military units. "The aliens think they are fighting frightened colonists and disorganized military units," Emma told her people. "They are about to learn that they are fighting the human race." Dr. Bennett loaded the last of his shield disruptors into missile warheads and ran final system checks. Everything showed green across the board, but he knew that real combat was different from laboratory simulations. If his weapons failed to work as designed, the entire battle plan would collapse. 17 seconds, Alex reminded himself. That is how long the alien shields will be down. 17 seconds to change the course of the war. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance and looked out at the stars where the alien fleet was approaching. In a few hours, this quiet region of space would become a battleground that would determine the fate of humanity. But Jake was not afraid. "All ships, final preparation phase," he broadcast to the human fleet. "Remember, they expect us to fight like the last enemy they defeated. They expect us to be predictable and easy to counter. They are about to learn that humans do not fight like anyone else in the galaxy. The stage was set for the greatest military reversal in galactic history. The aliens thought they were hunting frightened prey. Instead, they were about to discover that they had wandered into the territory of apex predators, who had been waiting patiently for them to arrive. The alien armada emerged from hyperspace like a storm made of metal and death. 800 ships filled the darkness, their hulls gleaming under the light of distant stars. The formation was perfect, stretching across thousands of kilometers in a display of military power that had never been defeated. Chairman Vextar stood in the command center of the massive dreadnought that served as his flagship. The crystalline being's body reflected the light from dozens of tactical displays, creating rainbows that danced across the walls. Around him, representatives from 12 alien races watched the approaching battle with confident satisfaction. "Magnificent," breathed Admiral Torvak, his energy form pulsing with excitement. "No force in the galaxy has ever stood against such a fleet. The humans will surrender the moment they see what they face." War Master Krell laughed, the sound echoing through the command center like breaking stones. "Surrender would be wise, but I hope they are foolish enough to fight. My warriors have not had a proper battle in too long." Long-range sensors showed the human fleet ahead, scattered across the system in what appeared to be total disarray. Some ships were fleeing toward the outer planets. Others seemed to be trying to form defensive lines around the colonies. Most were simply running in random directions, their crews apparently paralyzed by fear. "Perfect," Commander Zix said as he studied the tactical displays. "The humans are responding exactly as predicted. Fear has destroyed their coordination. We can pick them off one by one without any organized resistance." Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the alien fleet approach through the main view screen. The enemy formation was impressive, he had to admit. Hundreds of ships moving in perfect coordination, their weapons charged and ready for battle. It was the kind of display that was meant to crush enemy morale before the first shot was fired. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the alien flagship," reported Communications Officer Linda Park. "Put it through," Jake ordered. He knew this moment would come. The aliens would offer one final chance for surrender, confident that any reasonable enemy would accept rather than face such overwhelming force. Chairman Vextar's image appeared on the main screen, his crystalline features catching the light in patterns that hurt human eyes to look at directly. When he spoke, his voice was translated into English by sophisticated computer systems. "I am Chairman Vextar of the Galactic Council," the alien leader said. "You have entered space that does not belong to your species. You have ignored our warnings and rejected our authority. This is your final opportunity to surrender and accept Council rule. Refuse, and your species will be wiped from the galaxy." Jake looked at the alien leader for a long moment before responding. Around him, his bridge crew waited silently, their faces showing no fear despite the overwhelming odds they faced. "This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the United Earth Space Force," he said calmly. "Your council claims authority over space that was empty when we found it. You threaten peaceful colonies that have done nothing but try to build better lives among the stars. We reject your ultimatum." Vexitar's expression shifted, showing what might have been surprise. "You would choose extinction over submission? Your fleet is outnumbered 4-1. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. You cannot possibly hope to win." Jake smiled grimly. "You know, that is what the British thought at Yorktown. That is what the Germans thought at Stalingrad. That is what everyone thinks right before they learn that humans do not know how to quit." The transmission ended, and Jake turned to his crew. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. The talking is over. Execute Protocol 7. Show them how humans fight." Across the scattered human fleet, captains received the signal they had been waiting for. But instead of forming up for battle, the human ships continued their apparent retreat. Some accelerated toward the edge of the system, others dove behind planets and moons. A few seemed to simply shut down their engines and drift helplessly. War Master Krell watched the human response with disgust. "Cowards," he spat. "They run like frightened animals. There is no honor in destroying such weaklings." But Commander Zix was more cautious. "Something feels wrong," he told the other alien commanders. The human admiral showed no fear during the communication. That does not match their fleet's behavior. "Fear affects different individuals in different ways," Admiral Torvak said dismissively. "The admiral may be brave, but his crews are clearly terrified. Look how they scatter before us." The alien fleet began to accelerate. moving from their perfect formation into attack groups designed to hunt down fleeing enemies. This was exactly what their battle doctrine called for when facing a demoralized foe. Spread out to cover more space. Pursue the scattered enemy ships. Destroy them one by one. Captain Lisa Carter watched the alien fleet begin to break formation from her hiding place in the asteroid field. Her destroyers were still invisible to enemy sensors, powered down and drifting among the rocks like pieces of space debris. But their weapons were charged and ready. "They are taking the bait," she told her crew quietly. "The aliens are breaking their perfect formation to chase our decoy ships. That makes them vulnerable." Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan led his fighter squadron through what appeared to be a panicked retreat toward the outer system. His pilots flew in loose formation, their ships weaving back and forth as if the crews were too frightened to maintain proper course. But every movement was calculated, drawing the aliens exactly where the humans wanted them to go. "Red Squadron, maintain random flight patterns," Jake ordered over his radio. "Make them think we are running scared. Lead them into the kill zone." Dr. Alex Bennett monitored his shield disruptor missiles from the UES Discovery, which was disguised as a damaged cargo ship drifting near the edge of the system. The aliens had detected his vessel but dismissed it as irrelevant, just another civilian ship trying to escape the battle. They had no idea they were ignoring the weapon that would decide the war. "All systems green," Alex reported to Admiral Morrison over an encrypted channel. "Missiles are loaded and ready for deployment. Just get them into range." The alien pursuit group spread across the system, chasing human ships that always seemed to stay just out of range. Every time the aliens thought they had cornered a group of human vessels, the targets would slip away or disappear behind a planet. It was frustrating, but the alien commanders remained confident. "Let them run," War Master Krell told his fleet. "We will hunt them down eventually. There is nowhere in this system they can hide from us." But Colonel Emma Watson's hidden forces were already moving. Ships that had been disguised as mining vessels and cargo haulers began to shed their false hulls, revealing military-grade weapons and armor underneath. Crews that had been pretending to be civilian workers activated combat systems that had been hidden for months. "Phase 2 is go," Emma broadcast to her units. "All ghost ships begin final approach. Remember, we are ghosts until the moment we strike." Admiral Morrison watched the alien fleet spread across the system in pursuit of human ships that were leading them exactly where they needed to go. The enemy was strong and confident, but they were also predictable. They fought according to doctrine that had not changed in centuries, and that would be their downfall. "All units report status," Jake ordered. "Carter here. My destroyers are in position and ready," Sullivan reporting. "Fighter squadrons are leading the enemy into the trap." Watson checking in. "Ghost fleet is moving to attack positions. Bennett ready. Shield disruptors armed and targeted." Jake nodded with satisfaction. Every piece of the plan was falling into place. The aliens thought they were winning because they saw human ships running from them. What they did not see were the ships moving into position behind them, or the weapons being aimed at their hearts. "All ships, stand by," Jake announced. "In 60 seconds, we show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity." Captain Danny Parker commanded the UES Vigilant, a heavy cruiser that had been playing dead for the past hour. His ship drifted among the debris of a destroyed asteroid, its engines cold and its weapons powered down. To alien sensors, it looked like just another piece of space junk. "Sir, enemy patrol group is approaching," reported his tactical officer. 3 heavy cruisers and 6 destroyers. "They are moving right into our firing range." Danny smiled coldly. "Perfect. Get ready to show them that playing dead is just another human hunting technique." The alien fleet was now spread across millions of kilometers, their perfect formation broken as they pursued what they thought were fleeing human ships. They had taken the bait completely, abandoning their defensive coordination in favor of aggressive pursuit. Chairman Vexitar watched the hunt from his flagship, satisfied with how the battle was progressing. "See how they run?" he told the council representatives. "This is why the council rules the galaxy. Young races like the humans may have courage, but they lack the discipline for real warfare." War Master Krell nodded agreement. "My ships will finish this within the hour. The human fleet will be destroyed, and their colonies will surrender rather than face orbital bombardment." But in 60 seconds, the aliens would learn that the humans had not been running from them. They had been running them into the most carefully prepared ambush in military history. The hunt was about to become a slaughter, but not in the way The countdown reached 0, and everything changed in the space of a heartbeat. Across the scattered battlefield, human ships that had been fleeing in apparent panic suddenly wheeled around with deadly precision. Vessels that had seemed damaged and helpless came alive with weapons fire. Ships that had been hidden in asteroid fields behind moons and in the shadows of planets revealed themselves as the jaws of a trap that was now closing. Admiral Jake Morrison's voice cut through the chaos on all frequencies. All units, execute Phase 3. Show them what human coordination really looks like. Dr. Alex Bennett triggered his shield disruptors from the UES Discovery. 47 missiles streaked across space toward the scattered alien fleet, each one carrying a device that would change the balance of power in 17 seconds. The missiles were small and fast, designed to look like standard human weapons until the moment they activated. Disruptors away, Alex reported, his voice tight with nervous excitement. Impact in 30 seconds. If this works, their shields will be down across the entire fleet simultaneously. Commander Zix watched the approaching missiles on his tactical display and felt the first stirring of real concern. The human weapons were moving in coordinated patterns that suggested careful planning rather than desperate attacks. Something is wrong, he told War Master Krell. These are not the actions of a defeated enemy. This looks like a planned assault. But it was too late for the aliens to react. Their fleet was spread across millions of kilometers, chasing human ships that had led them into perfect ambush positions. The perfect formation that had been their strength was now gone, replaced by scattered groups that could not support each other. The first shield disruptor detonated near the center of the alien formation, sending out a pulse of energy that disrupted the fundamental frequency used by all Council shield systems. One by one, the other disruptors activated, creating a cascade of interference that spread throughout the enemy fleet. Shields down. Reported dozens of alien ships simultaneously. All defensive systems offline. War Master Krell stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Every ship in his fleet showed the same status, defenseless. How is this possible? Our shield technology has never failed like this. Captain Lisa Carter's destroyers burst from the asteroid field like wolves attacking sheep. Her ships had been waiting in perfect ambush positions, their weapons charged and their targets selected. Now they struck with precision that made alien battle doctrine look primitive by comparison. All ships fire at will, Lisa ordered. Hit them while their shields are down. Make every shot count. Railgun rounds and plasma torpedoes slammed into alien hulls that had no protection. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before were now burning wrecks drifting through space. The aliens tried to return fire, but their weapons were designed to fight through shield exchanges, not to target fast-moving attackers at close range. Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan's fighter squadrons abandoned their pretense of retreat and dove into the heart of the alien formation. His pilots flew with a skill that seemed impossible, weaving between enemy ships and striking at critical systems with surgical precision. Red Squadron, target their sensor arrays, Jake ordered over the radio. Blue Squadron, go for their weapon systems. Make them blind and helpless. The fighters moved like a school of deadly fish, each pilot knowing exactly where the others would be without needing to communicate. They had trained for years to fight this way, using human intuition and reflexes that no alien computer could predict or counter. Colonel Emma Watson's Ghost Fleet revealed itself all at once, dropping their disguises and opening fire from positions the aliens had never suspected. Ships that had looked like civilian cargo haulers were actually heavily armed cruisers. Mining vessels turned out to be missile platforms loaded with enough firepower to crack a moon. Ghost Fleet, full attack, Emma commanded. Show them what happens when they ignore civilian ships. The aliens found themselves under attack from every direction at once. Human ships that should have been running for their lives were instead moving with mechanical precision, each one playing its part in a battle plan that had been months in the making. Chairman Vexitar watched in horror as his perfect fleet was torn apart by enemies he had dismissed as primitives. How are they doing this? He demanded. Their tactics made no sense. Their formation was chaos. Admiral Torvak's energy form flickered with what might have been fear. It was not chaos, he realized. It was a pattern we could not recognize. They were not running from us. They were positioning us for slaughter. Captain Danny Parker's cruiser came back to life from its position among the asteroid debris, its weapons targeting the alien squadron that had been hunting human survivors. The enemy ships were caught completely by surprise, their shields down and their formation scattered. Vigilant to all nearby ships, Danny broadcast. We have multiple enemy vessels trapped in Grid 7. Anyone want to help us clean house? 3 more human ships revealed themselves from hiding places among the asteroids, their weapons adding to the devastating crossfire that tore the alien patrol group apart. What should have been a simple hunt for human stragglers became a massacre of alien hunters. Dr. Bennett watched his shield disruptors work exactly as designed, creating zones of interference that left alien ships helpless against human attacks. But he also knew the effect would not last forever. 17 seconds of total shield failure, he reported to Admiral Morrison. After that, they will start to recover. We need to do maximum damage while we can. Jake Morrison coordinated the human assault with calm efficiency, his orders turning apparent chaos into deadly purpose. All units' priority targets are command ships and carriers. Take out their ability to coordinate and launch fighters. Across the battlefield, human ships moved with a precision that seemed impossible given their scattered positions. But every captain knew their role, every pilot understood the plan, and every crew member had trained for this exact moment. The alien fleet tried to reform their battle lines, but human attacks kept disrupting their attempts at coordination. Every time a group of alien ships started to organize, human vessels would appear from unexpected directions and break up their formation with devastating firepower. War Master. Krell's flagship took multiple hits as human fighters swarmed around it like angry insects. His bridge filled with smoke and the sound of failing systems as railgun rounds punched through armor that had been breached when the shields failed. All ships, fall back to defensive positions, Krell ordered. But his communications were being jammed by human electronic warfare systems. Many of his ships could not even hear his commands. Commander Zix tried to analyze the human attack patterns, looking for weaknesses he could exploit. But every time he thought he understood what the humans were doing, they would change tactics and attack from a new direction. They are not following any doctrine I recognize, he reported to the council representatives. Each ship seems to be operating independently, but they are somehow perfectly coordinated. It should not be possible. Captain Lisa Carter's destroyers continued their devastating attack runs, appearing from behind asteroids and planets to strike at alien ships before disappearing again. Her crews had mastered the art of hit-and-run warfare, using the environment itself as both weapon and shield. Target their propulsion systems, Lisa ordered. If they cannot maneuver, they cannot escape or regroup. The 17 seconds of total shield failure ended, but the damage was already done. Dozens of alien ships were burning wrecks, and many more were crippled and unable to fight effectively. The perfect formation that had inspired such confidence was now a scattered ruin spread across the solar system. Colonel Emma Watson pressed her attack with ruthless efficiency. Her ghost fleet had been positioned to catch the aliens at their most vulnerable moment, and she was not wasting the opportunity. All ships, continue firing until they surrender or die, Emma commanded. They came here to destroy our colonies. Now they learn the price of threatening human civilians. Admiral Morrison watched the battle unfold with satisfaction tinged by sadness. The aliens had brought this destruction on themselves through arrogance and aggression, but he took no pleasure in the slaughter. He was a soldier, not a butcher. All ships prepare for Phase 4, Jake ordered. The aliens will try to regroup and counterattack. Do not let them recover their balance. The greatest military reversal in galactic history was unfolding exactly as the humans had planned. What should have been humanity's darkest hour was instead becoming the aliens' worst nightmare. The Council fleet that had seemed invincible was being systematically destroyed by enemies they had dismissed as primitives. And this was only the beginning. Time moved differently in the heart of battle. Seconds stretched into eternity while minutes passed like lightning. The alien commanders who had expected to spend hours methodically destroying human resistance found themselves fighting for survival in a nightmare that lasted only 20 minutes but felt like a lifetime. War Master Krell stood on his burning bridge, watching his perfect fleet die around him. Explosions lit up space like deadly fireworks as human weapons found their targets with terrifying accuracy. His flagship shuddered under another barrage of railgun rounds, the impact sending shockwaves through the hull that rattled his teeth. Damage report. He roared over the sound of failing systems and emergency alarms. Shields at 15% and falling, his tactical officer reported. Hull breaches on deck 7 through 12. Primary weapons offline. secondary weapons operating at half power. Through the smoke and sparks, Krell watched human fighters dance around his ship like deadly shadows. They moved with a grace that seemed impossible, each pilot anticipating the other's movements in a display of coordination that no computer could match. "How are they flying like that?" Krell demanded. "No formation can be that precise without central control." But there was no central control. Each human pilot was making split-second decisions based on training, instinct, and a deep understanding of how their fellow humans thought. They fought not as individual ships following orders, but as a single organism with hundreds of deadly limbs. Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan led Red Squadron through the heart of the alien formation, his fighters weaving between enemy ships like needles threading cloth. His pilots struck at weapon systems, sensor arrays, and propulsion units with surgical precision, leaving alien ships blind, helpless, and drifting. "Target the command tower on that dreadnought," Jake ordered, marking his target on the tactical display. "If we can take out their command structure, the smaller ships will lose coordination." 6 fighters dove toward the alien command ship, their weapons tracking systems locked onto the bridge where alien commanders struggled to make sense of the chaos around them. Plasma torpedoes and railgun rounds converged on the target, punching through weakened shields and armor to strike at the heart of alien resistance. Captain Lisa Carter's destroyers continued their devastating hit-and-run attacks, appearing from behind asteroids and moons to strike at alien ships before vanishing again into the void. Her crews had perfected the art of invisible warfare, using the solar system itself as camouflage. "Vampire Squadron, target that carrier group," Lisa commanded. "Do not let them launch any more fighters." Her ships moved like ghosts through space, their stealth systems making them nearly impossible to detect until they opened fire. When they struck, it was with the precision of a surgeon's knife, cutting away alien capabilities piece by piece. The alien carrier tried to launch its fighter squadrons, but human jamming systems disrupted their launch sequences, while human fighters intercepted any that managed to escape the launch bays. Within minutes, the massive ship was reduced to a floating piece of junk, its flight decks burning and its crew trapped inside a metal coffin. Dr. Alex Bennett monitored the battle from his research ship, watching his shield disruptors work exactly as designed. The aliens were starting to restore their defensive systems, but it was too little, too late. The damage had been done in those crucial 17 seconds when their entire fleet was helpless. "Shield restoration at 60% across the alien fleet," Alex reported to Admiral Morrison. "But hull damage is extensive. Many ships are operating at reduced capability." Jake Morrison coordinated the human assault with the calm efficiency of a master conductor directing a deadly symphony. Every ship knew its role, every captain understood the larger plan, and every crew member fought with the desperate courage of people defending their homes. "All units, focus fire on damaged vessels," Jake ordered. "Finish off the wounded before they can recover and regroup." The human fleet moved with a precision that seemed impossible given their apparent chaos. Ships that had been scattered across the solar system now worked together, as if controlled by a single mind, each one supporting the others in an intricate dance of destruction. Colonel Emma Watson's Ghost Fleet pressed their attack with ruthless determination. Her ships had trained for months to fight this exact battle, and they were not wasting the opportunity to show the galaxy what happened when humans were pushed too far. "All ships, maintain pressure on the enemy flanks," Emma commanded. "Do not give them time to think or reorganize. Keep them reacting instead of acting." Her crews fought with the fury of people who knew their families and friends depended on their success. Every shot fired was revenge for alien threats against human colonies. Every enemy ship destroyed was one less threat to the children sleeping safely on distant worlds. Captain Danny Parker led a boarding assault against an alien command cruiser, his Marines using cutting tools and explosives to breach the enemy hull. The fight inside the alien ship was brutal and close, humans and aliens dying in corridors filled with smoke and sparks. "Secure the bridge," Danny ordered his troops. "We need their command codes and fleet communications." The Marines fought their way through alien defenders with weapons designed for ship-to-ship combat, not close-quarters fighting. But humans had been perfecting the art of violence for thousands of years, and they brought that experience to bear against enemies who had grown soft through centuries of easy victories. Commander Zix tried desperately to coordinate a counterattack, But human jamming systems disrupted his communications while human hackers infiltrated his computer networks. Every order he gave was intercepted. Every plan he made was countered before it could be implemented. "They are inside our systems," he reported to Chairman Vextar. "Somehow they have broken our encryption and are reading our communications in real time." The truth was simpler than Zix imagined. Human computer specialists had been studying alien technology for years, looking for weaknesses they could exploit. When the battle began, they had activated viruses and backdoors that had been hidden in alien systems for months. Admiral Torvak's energy form flickered with growing fear as he watched the systematic destruction of the Council fleet. Ships that had seemed invincible were burning wrecks. Formations that had been perfect were scattered chaos. The greatest military force in galactic history was being destroyed by primitives who should not have been able to fight back. "We must retreat," Torvak told the other alien commanders. "Regroup and plan a new assault with full knowledge of human capabilities." But retreat was easier to order than to execute. Human ships had positioned themselves to block escape routes, while human fighters harassed any alien vessel that tried to break away from the main battle. The aliens found themselves trapped in a cage of their own making, victims of the very aggression that had brought them to human space. Chairman Vextar stood in his command center, watching his perfect fleet die on the tactical displays around him. The crystalline being's body no longer reflected beautiful rainbows. Instead, it showed only the red glow of emergency lighting and the harsh glare of weapons fire. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "We studied their tactics. We analyzed their capabilities. They should not be able to do this." The answer was simple but unthinkable for beings who had ruled the galaxy for centuries. The humans were not fighting like any enemy the Council had faced before. They were not following established doctrine or predictable patterns. They were fighting like humans, and that made all the difference. Captain Lisa Carter's voice cut through the chaos on the command frequency. "Admiral Morrison, enemy flagship is attempting to withdraw. Should we pursue?" Jake Morrison looked at the tactical display showing the alien command ship trying to escape the slaughter. Around it, the remnants of the once mighty Council fleet were either burning wrecks or vessels desperately trying to surrender. "Negative," Jake replied. "Let them go. They need to carry word back to the Council about what happens when you threaten humanity." The battle that the aliens had expected to last 6 hours was over in 20 minutes. The fleet that had been assembled to crush human resistance was destroyed, scattered, or in full retreat. The perfect formation that had inspired such confidence was now a debris field spreading across the solar system. War Master Krell's flagship limped away from the battlefield, its hull cracked and its crew decimated. The proud warrior who had boasted about destroying humans in 4 hours now faced the humiliation of explaining how his forces had been routed in less than half an hour. "Send word to the Council," Krell ordered weakly. "Tell them that we have encountered something beyond our understanding. Tell them that the humans are not what we thought they were." The greatest military reversal in galactic history was complete. The Council forces that had come to destroy humanity had instead learned a lesson that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. When humans were threatened, when their families and homes were in danger, they became something that no alien computer could calculate or counter. They became unstoppable. The silence that followed the battle was more terrifying than the chaos that had preceded it. Where once 800 alien ships had moved in perfect formation, now only scattered debris and the fading glow of dying engines marked their passage. The Council fleet that had arrived with such confidence lay broken across the solar system, a monument to the price of underestimating humanity. Chairman Vextar stood in the emergency command center of his damaged flagship, his crystalline body cracked and leaking the strange energy that served as his blood. Around him, the few surviving alien commanders tried to make sense of what had just happened to their invincible armada. "Status report," Vextar demanded, his voice no longer carrying the authority that had once commanded respect across 12 star systems. Admiral Torvak's energy form flickered weakly as he accessed what remained of their fleet communications. 237 ships destroyed completely, 189 ships disabled beyond repair, 312 ships heavily damaged and retreating. Only 62 ships remained capable of combat operations. The numbers hit the alien commanders like physical blows. In 20 minutes, the humans had destroyed or disabled 90% of the greatest military force ever assembled by the Galactic Council. It should have been impossible, but the evidence was spread across space in twisted metal and cooling plasma. War Master Krell struggled to stand on his damaged bridge, his massive form hunched with pain and defeat. The proud warrior who had boasted about crushing humans in 4 hours now faced the bitter reality of military disaster beyond imagination. "How?" Krell whispered, his voice barely audible over the sounds of emergency systems and dying crew members. "How did primitives destroy the finest fleet in galactic history?" Commander Zix provided the answer with the cold logic that had once made him the Council's premier military analyst. "They were never primitives," he said quietly. "We saw what we expected to see. We studied their tactics but not their thinking. We analyzed their technology but not their creativity. We prepared to fight the last enemy we defeated, not the enemy we actually faced." Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, looking out at the aftermath of humanity's greatest victory. His ship had taken damage during the battle, but nothing that could not be repaired. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency to restore full combat capability, just in case any of the surviving aliens decided to continue the fight. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the alien flagship," reported Communications Officer Linda Park. "They are requesting immediate ceasefire and wish to discuss terms." Jake nodded slowly. He had expected this moment, but it still felt strange to be dictating terms to beings who had ruled the galaxy since before humans discovered fire. "Put them through." Chairman Vextar's image appeared on the main screen, his crystalline features showing cracks that made him look far older than his centuries of existence. When he spoke, his voice carried none of the arrogance that had marked their previous conversation. "Admiral Morrison," Vextar said formally, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I request an immediate cessation of hostilities. We acknowledge that our assessment of human military capabilities was flawed." Jake studied the alien leader for a long moment before responding. "Chairman Vextar, you came to our space with 800 warships and demanded our surrender. You threatened to wipe our species from the galaxy. Now you want to talk about ceasefire?" "The Council made errors in judgment," Vextar admitted, the words seeming to cause him physical pain. "We did not understand what we were facing. We request an opportunity to negotiate new terms of engagement." Jake looked around his bridge at the men and women who had just proved that humanity deserved its place among the stars. These were the people who had turned certain defeat into impossible victory through courage, skill, and the kind of creative thinking that no alien computer could predict. "Very well," Jake said finally. "We will accept your surrender and discuss terms. But understand this, Chairman Vextar, the days of the Council dictating to humanity are over. From now on, we negotiate as equals." Captain Lisa Carter's destroyers continued their patrol of the battlefield, rescuing survivors from both sides and securing disabled alien vessels. Her crews worked with professional efficiency, but Lisa could see the pride in their faces. They had just participated in the greatest underdog victory in military history. "Captain, we are picking up escape pods from that alien dreadnought," reported her tactical officer. "Shall we retrieve them?" "Of course," Lisa replied without hesitation. "We are not savages. Rescue all survivors, alien and human alike. Make sure the alien crews understand that they are now prisoners of war and will be treated according to the laws of civilized warfare." Dr. Alex Bennett surveyed the wreckage of alien ships that now drifted through space, their advanced technology reduced to scrap metal by weapons based on his shield disruptor theory. The scientist felt a mixture of pride and sadness as he watched human salvage crews beginning the long process of studying alien technology. "Dr. Bennett," came Admiral Morrison's voice over the communication system. "Report to the flagship immediately. The Council wants to understand how we defeated their shield systems. You are going to be part of the peace negotiations." Alex nodded to his empty laboratory. His work had changed the balance of power in the galaxy, but he knew that the real victory belonged to the courage and determination of the human crews who had risked everything to defend their homes and families. Colonel Emma Watson commanded the boarding parties that were securing disabled alien vessels throughout the solar system. Her troops moved through alien ships with careful precision, collecting intelligence and technology while treating captured crews with the respect due to defeated enemies. "Colonel, what should we do with their computer systems?" asked Major Kelly Davis, who was leading one of the boarding teams. "Copy everything," Emma replied. Battle plans, fleet compositions, technology specifications, communication codes. The aliens came here to destroy us, so their intelligence is now ours by right of conquest. But treat their crews well. We are soldiers, not monsters. Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan led his fighter squadrons in a victory flyby over the human colonies that had been threatened by the alien invasion. Below them, millions of civilians who had gone to sleep fearing destruction now woke to news of impossible victory. Red Squadron, this is Home Control, came the voice of a flight controller on New Portland Station. The Colony Council wishes to express their gratitude for your protection. You saved our lives today. Jake felt tears in his eyes as he thought about the families who were safe because of what they had accomplished. Home Control, it was our honor to serve. No one threatens human civilians and walks away. Captain Danny Parker stood on the bridge of the captured alien command cruiser, watching his Marine boarding team secure the vessel and its crew. The alien officers had fought bravely, but they were no match for humans who had trained for ship-to-ship combat since childhood. Sir, we have secured their communication codes and fleet intelligence, reported Sergeant Mike Torres. The aliens have detailed files on every Council military asset in this sector of the galaxy. Danny nodded grimly. Good work, Sergeant. This information will help prevent future attacks. Make sure the alien crew understands that they will be repatriated once peace terms are established. General Ryan Brooks received reports from across the solar system as human forces completed their stunning victory. The man who had activated Protocol 7 now faced the pleasant task of explaining to Earth's government how humanity had gone from facing extinction to dictating peace terms in less than a day. Sir, President Johnson is requesting a full briefing on the battle, reported Major Kelly Davis. The entire planet wants to know how we defeated a force that outnumbered us 4-1. Ryan smiled for the first time in months. Tell the president that we won because we remembered something the aliens had forgotten. We remembered that wars are not won by the side with the most ships or the best technology. Wars are won by the side that refuses to quit. The alien survivors began their long journey back to Council space, carrying with them the news that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. The humans they had dismissed as primitives had not only defeated the greatest military force in galactic history, but had done so with tactics and strategies that no Council computer had been able to predict or counter. Chairman Vextar sat in his damaged command center, composing the report that would end his political career and change the balance of power across the galaxy. The Council had ruled for centuries through military might and the fear of overwhelming force. Now that force had been broken by a species that had been among the stars for less than 100 years. War Master Krell dictated his own report from his medical bay, his massive form wrapped in alien bandages and medical devices. The warrior who had never known defeat now faced the humiliation of explaining how his perfect fleet had been destroyed by enemies he had dismissed as cowards. The humans do not fight like any enemy we have faced, Krell said slowly. They do not follow our battle doctrine because they have written their own. They do not use our tactics because they have created something new. We came to destroy primitives and instead found apex predators. 6 months after the battle that changed galactic history, Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the Grand Conference Hall of Luna Station, looking out at an assembly that would have been impossible to imagine just a year before. Representatives from dozens of alien races sat alongside human diplomats, all working together to write a new chapter in the story of galactic civilization. The Galactic Council as it had existed for centuries was gone, destroyed not by weapons but by the simple demonstration that their authority was not absolute. In its place, a new organization was forming, one based on mutual respect rather than fear, on cooperation rather than domination. The Terra Accords represent a fundamental shift in how civilized species interact, Jake said to the assembled delegates. No longer will might make right. No longer will advanced civilizations dictate terms to younger races. From this day forward, every species has the right to determine its own destiny among the stars. Chairman Vextar sat with the other former council leaders, his crystalline body showing new patterns where the cracks had healed. The being who had once commanded the respect and fear of 12 star systems now served as a junior member of humanity's diplomatic staff, learning how to negotiate as an equal rather than a superior. The humans have taught us that strength comes not from the size of one's fleet, but from the courage of one's convictions, Vextar said when called upon to speak. We came to destroy them for their defiance and instead learned that defiance itself can be a virtue. Dr. Alex Bennett had become the most famous scientist in the galaxy overnight. His discovery of the universal weakness in Council Shield technology had not only won a battle, but had revolutionized military thinking across hundreds of worlds. Now he worked with alien scientists to develop defensive systems that could not be so easily defeated. The key is diversity, Alex explained to a mixed group of human and alien researchers. The Council's greatest weakness was that they had become too uniform, too predictable. By working together, by combining different approaches to the same problems, we can create technologies that are stronger than anything any single species could develop alone. Captain Lisa Carter now commanded the joint patrol forces that kept peace along the new borders between human and alien space. Her destroyers worked alongside former enemies to hunt pirates and smugglers who threatened legitimate trade between the species. Patrol 7 to base, Lisa reported during a routine mission. We have intercepted a Zephyrian smuggling vessel in Sector 4. Working with alien customs officials to process the crew, no resistance encountered. The irony was not lost on her that she was now working with the same species that had tried to destroy humanity just months before. But the Zephyrians who served under her command had proven themselves to be honorable allies once they learned to respect human capabilities. Colonel Emma Watson had been promoted to head the new Human Strategic Command, an organization dedicated to ensuring that no alien force would ever again catch humanity unprepared. But her job was not just about military readiness. It was about teaching the galaxy that humans could be trusted with power. We must never become what the old council was, Emma told her staff during a planning meeting. We won our freedom through strength, but we must maintain it through wisdom. The galaxy is watching to see if humans will use their new influence responsibly. Lieutenant Commander Jake Sullivan led joint training exercises where human and alien pilots learned to work together. The same aliens who had once dismissed human flying skills now competed eagerly to match the impossible maneuvers that human pilots made look effortless. The trick is not to think about each movement separately, Jake explained to a mixed squadron of human and alien pilots. Feel the ship as an extension of your body. Trust your instincts. Most importantly, trust your wingman, no matter what species they are. War Master Krell had surprised everyone by requesting assignment to human forces after his recovery from battle injuries. The proud warrior who had once boasted about destroying humanity in 4 hours now served as an advisor on alien military tactics, helping humans understand the thinking of potential enemies. The humans fight with their hearts as well as their minds, Krell explained to a group of human officers studying alien battle doctrine. That is what made them impossible to predict. They did not just fight to win, they fought to protect what they loved. That kind of motivation cannot be calculated or countered. General Ryan Brooks found himself in the unexpected position of being one of the most respected military minds in the galaxy. Alien commanders who had once dismissed human tactics now studied Protocol 7 with the intensity of religious scholars examining sacred texts. The beauty of Protocol 7 was not that it was complex, Ryan explained to a group of alien military leaders. The beauty was that it was simple. Every human in the fleet understood the basic principle: trust your fellow humans, adapt to changing conditions, and never give up hope. Captain Danny Parker commanded the diplomatic security forces that protected the peace negotiations. His teams included Marines from a dozen different species, all working together to ensure that the representatives could focus on building a better future instead of worrying about their safety. Human and alien security teams. This is Captain Parker, he announced during a shift change. Remember, we are not just protecting diplomats. We are protecting the future of galactic civilization. Every species represented here has something valuable to contribute to that future. Dr. Bennett's breakthrough in shield technology had led to a revolution in defensive systems across the galaxy. But more importantly, it had opened the door to scientific cooperation between species that had never worked together before. By sharing our knowledge freely, we all become stronger, Alex told a gathering of the galaxy's leading scientists. The old council hoarded technology and used it as a weapon. We will use our discoveries as tools to build a better galaxy for everyone. The peace negotiations continued for months, but they were unlike any diplomatic process in galactic history. Instead of one side dictating terms to another, all parties worked together to create agreements that would benefit everyone involved. Admiral Morrison found himself serving as more than just a military commander. He had become the voice of human values in galactic politics, showing alien species that power could be used to protect rather than dominate. The strength we showed in battle was not just military strength, Jake explained to the assembled delegates. It was the strength that comes from unity, from people working together toward a common goal. That is the kind of strength that builds civilizations, not just wins wars. Captain Lisa Carter's patrol forces became a model for interspecies cooperation that was copied throughout the galaxy. Human and alien crews who had been enemies now worked side by side, learning that they had more in common than they had differences. The universe is vast enough for all of us, Lisa often told her mixed crews. There is no need for conflict when there are infinite worlds to explore and countless mysteries to solve together. The changes rippled outward from human space, affecting every corner of the galaxy. Species that had been oppressed by the old council found their voices. Young civilizations that had been held back by council restrictions began to flourish. Trade routes that had been controlled by council bureaucrats opened up to free commerce. Colonel Watson's strategic command worked not just to defend humanity, but to help other species develop their own defensive capabilities. The goal was not human dominance, but universal freedom. A galaxy where everyone can defend themselves is a galaxy where no one needs to fear conquest. Emma explained to a group of alien military leaders who were learning human tactics. We share our knowledge because strong neighbors are better than weak subjects. 1 year after the battle, Chairman Vextar stood before the new Galactic Assembly and delivered a speech that formally ended the old era of council rule. For too long, we believed that order could only come through control, that peace could only exist through the threat of force, the crystalline being said. The humans have shown us a different way. They have proven that the strongest civilizations are built on cooperation, not conquest. The Terra Accords were signed by representatives of over 200 species, creating a new framework for galactic civilization based on the principles that humanity had fought to defend. No species would dominate another. No civilization would be denied the right to chart its own course among the stars. Admiral Morrison stood at the window of his flagship, looking out at a star field that seemed somehow brighter than it had a year before. The UES Defiance was part of a joint fleet that included ships from dozens of different species, all working together to explore the unknown regions beyond the galactic rim. Admiral, we are receiving signals from the outer survey teams, reported Communications Officer Linda Park. They have found something interesting in the Andromeda approach vectors. Jake smiled as he thought about the future that stretched ahead of them. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest but through courage. Not through domination but through determination to protect what they valued most. The galaxy watched as humans took their place among the great civilizations, no longer as no,